Well, hello there. How's it going? Thank you for joining us once again on a Salt Shaker adventure. So BAM 10 has just happened. It's been and gone. It's done. Dusted. A lot of New Zealand players win. A lot of good talent. So big thank you to those who turned up and just the people around the world in general who showed up. Supporting Australia, supporting the Australian FGC. It was brutal competition. The overseas players, the Koreans, man, that competition was brutal. But it was a good event and it was a great outcome. So a big thank you to those people. Yeah, so the Capcom Pro Tour and the Tekken World Tour, just being a part of that, you know, in the mix. Unfortunately, a lot of players over here did want to go, but couldn't due to personal commitments or money. But whereas those players who went had BAM, those who stayed had Fortnite. And I mean, it's a good game, you know, just to binge, you know, just to, you know, be a couch potato. It's so addicting, man. I can't believe the craze, how much it's blown up. People are playing it at like 2, 3, 4 a.m. in the morning. People are streaming it at like 5 a.m. in the morning. It's insane. I mean, not to dob anyone, but I think I heard Zazo was playing it daily until he was flying out to BAM. I mean, I think he was even playing it in the departure lounge. Sorry, dude. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Fortnite. I never thought I'd be into it, but it's really addicting. And one more thing, Crush Counter Capital is the next local event. Wellington. Search that up for more details. We need to get those numbers up, so join if you can. Big thank you to Omen by HP, Standing Fierce, and to the Salt Shaker listeners everywhere, every day. You know how we play. Now I think it's time to bring out the wild card.
Welcome to the Super Salt Shaker Podcast. Drax. Get ready for the next podcast.
Oh, well, thank you to those who have joined in, those who have been listening. I bring to you from ELEAGUE Street Fighter V Challenger, Dayasha, the wildcard. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you doing, bro?
Yeah, good. It's kind of crazy that they coined your name the wildcard. It was something that really stuck for you, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the reason behind it is that if you're new to the scene, then you don't know who I am. But if you have been around for a while, then you know exactly who I am.
How the hell does that happen? Because, like, you know, you come from back, you know, well beyond Street Fighter 4 and, you know, K-Brand and stuff. Like, how are you so under the radar? Well,
I want to say I stopped competing, like, seriously. I stopped competing seriously when Ultra Street Fighter 4 came out. That's when I realized, like, I disbanded my team. I stopped with the sponsorships. I stopped traveling often because I had my third child at that point. So I was like, all right, this is becoming a lot. So, and it's a lot of people don't have their ear to the ground as far as like the past of the scene. Like nobody's like, you know, oh, I want to learn more about the history of the FGC. It's more so what's happening right now, and that's nobody's fault in particular. That's more so just the culture of like the FGC. And as like nobody's willing to go back.
Yeah, and as a person as well, like your commitment's changed. I mean, with 3 kids, I mean, you know, things have got to change, right?
Yeah, so you have to imagine. I've come from a time where it's like, you know, people were playing for T-shirt deals, where it's like they'll just give you a T-shirt because they wanted that notoriety of a sponsorship. So it was like there was no money in it when I was doing it. Like, I mean, of course there was money if you were winning. But there's not money in it like how there is now. So I had to be more realistic. Like, all right, I have to get a career. You know what I'm saying? And take care of my family and stuff like that. Pay these bills.
Yeah.
Street Fighter wasn't going to pay the bills.
No, of course, man. So you live in Florida at the moment, correct?
Yep, I live in Florida.
What do you like about Florida? Like, why would people go to Florida for?
Well, I'm from the Bronx originally. Bronx, New York. So the contrast is very deep, where it's like, you used to go to sleep hearing gunshots.
Wow.
Here, you don't really hear any of that at all over here. I mean, you see on the news, like, people are crazy, and that's fine, but, like, the difference between, like, I live in a gated community with a patio and, like, a nice view and an 8-foot pool, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I live in a really nice area of Florida, so the contrast is really different. I just didn't want to be in New York, and I didn't want my kids to grow up like how I grew up. You know what I'm saying? Like moving schools all the time and shootouts and people selling drugs to kids, and
you need to give them a stable home. Yeah,
exactly. I wanted to be out. Like my kids right now, they go to a charter school, and they've been there from kindergarten, and they will probably finish high school at that one school, just because I don't want them to live like how I did.
Yeah, consistency. Yeah,
100%, and it's safer.
It's safer. So I know the reason behind your name because it was said on your interview with Flo. But where does your name come from? The inspiration?
So my favorite anime when I was 14, and still my favorite anime is Inuyasha. And I thought it was cool.
I like that anime, man. I've never been into it though. Like, would you recommend it?
There's so much better anime out right now that I probably wouldn't tell you to go watch 500 episodes of Inuyasha. I would probably say just watch the better stuff, but I was able to sit through it, and I've read the entire manga series. I've watched all the movies. It's just, to me, Inuyasha is like, it holds a very near place to my heart. So, especially since when I think I discovered Inuyasha when I was like 12. I can't remember, but I think I was like 12 or 13. And then it just was like my favorite. It kind of like introduced me to anime. Like everybody's story is like Dragon Ball Z on Toonami or like Pokemon. Mine was like it was that, but it was also Inuyasha and Cowboy Bebop.
Classic.
So man. I mean, yeah, I would recommend it if you have the time. But if you're not into like old school animes and stuff like that, if you're into like, you know, the newer, better quality drawing and stuff like that, I would probably just not. Okay. Yeah, but my father's name is David, so you know, David and Inuyasha, you put them together, you get Dayasha.
That's nice. That's a sweet little notion.
Yeah.
And you're a Chun main as well, which I love character loyalists. I'm a Lee main for Tekken 7. What made you choose Chun-Li?
So when I used to play Street Fighter back when I was like young, and I want to say I was like 7 when I was playing like Street Fighter Alpha and stuff like that. I don't want to say I skipped Street Fighter 2, but I missed it. It's beyond me. So we went straight into Street Fighter Alpha, and as I was looking through the character select screen when I was fighting my father, I just so happened to land on Chun. And one thing about it was I could just mash the kick button, and I would get lightning legs. And I always thought that I was, you know, pro as hell because I'm mashing lightning legs, you know what I'm saying? So, and then as time progressed, you know, when I started to become competitive, I was like, well, I don't want to pick a character where it's like, I don't know if that character is going to be in the game, right? So, like, my second favorite character is Evil Ryu. The Evil Ryu is never guaranteed. You see what I'm saying? Whereas, like, Chun is like a guarantee. So I felt like it was like a smart move. Right, it's like a smart move. She's the first lady of Street Fighter. She's strong, you know what I'm saying? She plays like my playstyle, you know what I'm saying? Like my playstyle works for Chun. So I just was like, I'm gonna stick with Chun. Like she's my favorite character of the series. I might as well just play her. And she's in every game that Capcom has, you know what I'm saying? Every fighting game that Capcom has, except for like Rival Schools and Power Stone and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But whatever there's like a crossover, it's usually Chun is in it, you know? Yeah. So, yeah.
What are your thoughts on Chun-Li as a character in Street Fighter V? Over here in New Zealand, I barely see Chun-Li chosen in tournaments.
The problem with Chun in 5, in my opinion, right? I gotta say, in my opinion, the problem with Chun in Street Fighter V is that she's a footsie character, right? So she's usually the staple for footsies. People would say it's Sim, but I would say it's Chun-Li. Chun is the staple for like footsies. If you play Chun, if somebody picks Chun, you know that they're gonna whiff punish you. You know that they're gonna know their frame data and stuff like that. So in Street Fighter V, there's so many characters that do footsies better than her. So it's like, why would you play Chun? There's no reason to play Chun when you can play Manat. You know what I'm saying? Manat has a fireball. Manat has better pokes. She has better buttons. She has a better V trigger. She has a better V reversal. She has a better super. You know what I'm saying? She has a dive kick. She has a reflect. Like, why would you pick Chun when you can pick Manat? You see what I'm saying? Like, why would you pick Chun when you can pick Falk? Yeah. So that's why you're probably not going to see that many. The people that play Chun are people who actually like Chun or people who played her in Season 1 when she was godlike.
Do you think there's what do you think of the what do you think is one of Chun-Li's biggest weaknesses? Because yeah, she gets mauled by characters like Manat and Sim.
I think so. Her weakness is Street Fighter V.
Yeah,
I believe her weakness in Street Fighter V is that she gets mauled by everybody, and like her buttons. Like when you think Chun-Li, you think good buttons, good range, good anti-airs, stuff like that. In Street Fighter V, it's just she doesn't really have any advantages as a character. You see what I'm saying? Like for example, like a Manat, right? Manat's buttons are just ridiculous. Like Chun's buttons fail in comparison or pale in comparison. So I feel like her weakness is that she can't keep people out in this game. Like it's hard for her to keep people out because her buttons have been slowed down. Her buttons don't have that much priority. So like anti-airs will trade, and if they trade, it puts you in a bad situation. Like all of the situations that you could be in will put you in a bad situation. And that's not to say that she's bad. I don't want people to think that she's a bad character in the game. I'm just saying, like, you would never pick her over somebody else who has the same sort of attributes or character traits.
I see.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, like there's no reason to play her because she's like her V skill, right? Let's talk about her V skill for example.
Yeah.
Her V skill's a jump, right? It's a floaty jump. Why would I ever use her V skill? There's no reason to ever use her V skill. Whereas like a Manat, you can use your V skill all day because you have the reflect, and then you have the anti-air reflect. You see what I'm saying? And her reflect combos. There's no need for you to ever use her V skill. Now, I mean, you could hit confirm from like a low forward if you're close enough to V skill, but if you V skill in somebody's face, you're punishable. If you V skill and somebody didn't throw out a button or a projectile, you're punishable. Your jump is so floaty that there's no reason to do it. So like she just has stuff in the game that's just useless. Her crouching short, useless. Like why would you ever use it? You know what I'm saying? Her good button, which was her stand short, got nerfed, so it's like why use that button? You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say that she didn't get any buffs like her back roundhouse. The back roundhouse is really good now, but at the same time it's like just she has attacks that just are useless. Yeah. So whereas like other characters have attacks that are godlike. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. No, it's so interesting seeing like characters like Manat and Cammy just really dominating like tournament presence and just general presence at any kind of tournament. In episode 3, where you had your elimination match, I forgot who said it, but someone was, they were talking to you about, like having a solid, like in terms of just like, being a solid player, maybe picking up a second tier character. And I was interested in what you said because you were saying, like you're a Chun main, you'll always be a Chun main. And then I forgot who said it, but they were like, in this game, it pays to have a secondary character in the back pocket. Would you ever, at any light, pick up a second character in the back pocket?
Yeah. So right now I've been my problem. So that portion they shortened it a lot because we had like an actual long conversation about it. And one thing that I was saying is that I don't want to use another Chun-like character, right? A footsie-based, you know what I'm saying, poke type of character, in and out type of character. If I'm going to play another character, it's going to be the opposite end of the spectrum. Yep. So I've been playing a whole lot of Cammy lately. But Cammy's not where my heart is, And what I was saying to them or what they were saying to me is like, this game is very matchup heavy, but Street Fighter's always been matchup heavy. But I always believed in you should be able to overcome your matchups if you're really good. But Street Fighter V just makes it so much harder. Like when a matchup is bad in Street Fighter V, it's bad.
It really goes against the player.
Yeah, it's really bad. So it makes sense for me to pick another character. But I just Chun is where home is. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll never. It's one of those things I'll never drop her. Yeah.
No, I get you, dude. We know you're a Street Fighter V player. Do you have a secondary game that you turn to?
As far as like competitive gaming?
Or just any game with that level of interest?
So right now I'm really big into Monster Hunter. I'm deep into Monster Hunter right now. I love me some Monster Hunter. As far as like competitive games, I tried Tekken. Tekken is not for me. Let me tell you, that game is definitely not for me. I'm getting back into so once the show is complete and like aired fully and stuff like that, I'm gonna get back into Dragon Ball Fighters. I had to stop playing Dragon Ball Fighters abruptly because I found out that I was on the show, and I was like, oh snap, I need to train. So I wasn't able to, play it as much as I wanted to. Mm-hmm. But now that I've been home and, you know what I'm saying, like, a lot of people are starting to remember me as a Street Fighter player. So I've been getting back into Street Fighter, and then I'll start segueing back and forth into Dragon Ball Fighters. But as far as, like, other games, I play everything. Like, everything except for sport games. I can't stand sport games. Like, I will not play a sport game.
Have you been jamming like, Fortnite at all?
Yes. I have been playing some Fortnite. On the PC and on the PS4. I'm good at shooting.
Yeah.
I'm bad at building. So like, I'm really bad at building. Just because of the whole keyboard layout, I'm terrible at building.
Oh, that's everyone's problem, man. I can never build fast enough. People just build the ramps above and then just, shotgun me.
Yeah.
I'm terrible.
Yeah, I can't do it. Yeah.
So I just want to go a bit into back in your Street Fighter 4 time with K-Brad. You did mention the team. That's FNEX, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just wondering if you could go in a bit about that, like how you and K-Brad and Shine, how that all came to be.
So, with FNEX, when I first started my Street Fighter career, YouTube wasn't a thing yet. And if it was, it had just gotten started. So I decided to start doing, once YouTube came out, to start doing like YouTube vlogs about Street Fighter, like showing my matches and stuff like that. YouTube was a much friendlier place back then. But I would post my matches on YouTube. So a lot of the popular YouTubers who posted like Street Fighter videos and stuff like that, they were like, yo, we're always playing each other, we should make a team or whatever. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna make a team based off of all the people on the internet, and then we'll have a community for everybody who can't go to tournaments and stuff like that. Like how we were. If you can't go to tournaments, we'll have a community so that, you can join, you can meet other people, you can play Street Fighter, you can level up, you can contact us, stuff like that. So I would host like online tournaments and stuff like that. So when I made Fight Nation EX, we had like 600 members. We had like 650 members. It was ridiculous. So one day we weren't doing anything. Like there was nothing happening with the team, and I was one of the only few that was actually going to tournaments like on a religious base. Like I was going to tournaments like every weekend, if that. There was times where I would go every weekend, and then there was times where I would go during the week. I would play at tournaments in people's garages. You know what I'm saying? Like I played tournaments like everywhere. It was ridiculous.
You were there no matter what.
No matter what. If there was a tournament and there was more than 10 people, I was in there. So, which is why I got so much experience in Street Fighter 4. So, with FNEX, I was like, yo, there's nothing really happening right now, so I'm just going to close this whole online division, and I'm just going to make it an offline team. So I made the announcement, and I closed, like, the whole, like, I got rid of the website, I got rid of all that stuff, and made it just for, like, people who are trying to go to tournaments. Like, you can have a crew of people that go with you to these tournaments. We can play each other, and then we can play all these top-level people. So one day, K-Brad actually hit me up. So, well, let me start with Shine, because Shine was first. When I met Shine, I think he was like 13 or 12 or 13. He was really young. He was just one of my followers, but he was really good at Street Fighter 4, like amazing at Street Fighter 4. So he was like, yo, I want to be a part of the team. So I put him on the team. You know what I'm saying? Like we mentored him. Like there was a situation where he was at a tournament, and I drove from where I was at in New Jersey to New York where he had a tournament just to give him a stick because he didn't have a stick. So I drove like 3 hours just to get him a stick. So
just for a stick?
Just for a stick because he didn't have a stick. So I was like, oh shit, I'll bring you a stick. So I brought him one of my sticks all the way from New Jersey to New York. And if anybody knows that traffic, they know it's serious. But so he joins the team. And then like Chris Bond and all these other people, Mad Titan, stuff like that. And then we partnered with people from Empire Arcadia, all that good stuff. But that's like separate. So with K-Brad was the #1 Cammy on Street Fighter 4. I don't know if this was Super Street Fighter 4 or if this was vanilla. It might have been Super Street Fighter 4. And he hit me up on Facebook, or did I hit him up? One of us hit each other up on Facebook. And the conversation was like, hey, man, you looking for a team? And a lot of people probably won't remember this, like you would have to have been in the scene. But there was a team called DMG, Dominion Method Gaming or something like that.
I've actually heard of that. Like, no joke. I'm sure I've heard of that somewhere.
Yeah, you might have, because they had some top tier people there. They actually offered him to be a part of the team or whatever. But he was like, nah. When I offered him a chance to be on my team, he was like, nah. Like, I know you. I followed you on YouTube. Like, I have a message from K-Brad in like 2009 where he was trying to snipe me. He was like, oh, I played Chun too. Like, we should play together. Like, he was just trying to body me. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, I still have that message. But you know what? I'm gonna tweet it. After this, I'm gonna tweet it.
Oh, good, man.
So I hit him up like, yo, do you wanna be a part of this team? And he's like, yeah, he was telling me about all the other teams that was offering him stuff, but he wanted to be a part of my team because he knew of me and what I was about. So for his first tournament, right, it was me and my brother Mad Titan. We drove from New Jersey to Baltimore, which is like 4 hours. Or Maryland, sorry. We drove 4 hours from New Jersey to Maryland. We picked him up. We drove from Maryland to Philly for his first tournament. Then we drove him back to Maryland and then back to New Jersey for his first tournament where he got like top 16 under like Fight Nation. So he's just been down. Like, his first tournament that everybody saw K-Brad was with Fight Nation DX. And it all started from a Facebook message. And then after that, he just would like, so I used to work nights as a security guard when I met him. He would stay in my house, like on my couch while I was out at work. You know what I'm saying? And I would come back and then we would play matches and then go to tournaments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like he became like a brother to me. You know what I mean? But it started because of a Facebook message. I was like, yo, you trying to be a part of my team, bro? And he was like, yeah. That's just kind of how it went down. And then we grew with like Empire Arcadia and we had like other members and stuff like that. And then he went on to win, I think it was Seasons Beatings? It might have been Seasons Beatings 2014 or 2013 or something like that. He won his final tournament under FNEX, and then I disbanded the team. He had just gotten offers from like Evil Geniuses and stuff like that. So I was like, yo, you definitely need to go do that. Like, I wasn't trying to hinder him at all. Like, yo, you definitely 100% need to go to Evil Geniuses. Like, 1000%. Like, go do that. Like, he had nothing but support from all of us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we still have a chat where there's like 20 of us on Facebook, and we still talk like every other day. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the entire team. So, even though Fight Nation isn't a team anymore, we're still like a brotherhood. And I have all his trophies. I have like the majority of his trophies. Like, I have, like, his Street Fighter 5 trophies. Yeah, like, he'll just drop them shits off. And so I have his trophies all over my apartment right now. Like, I'm looking at them. I have the one that he got from Brazil. Like, I have his Canada trophies. I got some trophies from Justin Wong, too. Like, I got mad trophies here just from other people.
Man, that's so amazing. That team rapport. Like, even after the team disbanded, like you said, you guys are still going strong. That's really cool.
Yeah. And like now, people that were a part of my team they have like better opportunities within the scene. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't know, or people know, but like the new people don't know that I knew Shine from when he was 12.
Like when he started out, yeah.
Right, when he started out, and I was the one that was like, yo, you need to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's get you out and let's get you a part of these tournaments. You know what I'm saying? So, and we would train him up. I would play countless sessions with him and all that stuff. Like, he's way better than me now, but you ask him about like who was better in Street Fighter 4, I was destroying him. So yeah, but now he's like on doing bigger and better things. He's winning this tournament and that tournament. He's flying the world. You know what I'm saying? So it was a good start.
We were just talking about like you just mentioned tournaments. Do you host the CEO? Do you have any involvement in that? Like, you host that tournament? Have you hosted that tournament?
I'm the MC for like the main events. So like the Royal Rumble that we do, and Street Fighter, I'm the MC of it. So like I get everybody hype. I take part in the stunts and stuff like that. So like if you go to the CEO page, you'll see that like there's a guy with like his arms out. That's me. You know what I'm saying? Even if you look at my Discord picture, like that's me on the ropes at CEO.
I can see that.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I've been doing it for 3 years now, I think. 3 years. So this will be my 4th year, and this year we're gonna be in the arena, so it's definitely about to be lit. Yeah.
Because I saw a picture of you with your arms out in a wrestling ring. Yeah, no, just did you? Are you a fan of wrestling, or that was just for the actual tournament, like for the setup?
I'm a huge fan of wrestling, and that's one part of the show that I'm very, very sad that they didn't show. So, when they came over to my place at, like, they didn't come over to my place, sorry. I met them at a wrestling gym at 9:30 in the morning, where I trained as a wrestler on camera from like 9:30 to 12. You know what I'm saying? I was rolling, running the ropes, getting chopped, all that stuff. And they didn't put it in the show. I was like, what the hell? Like, why did you guys come and film that if you weren't going to put it in the show?
You do all that work.
Yeah, I did all that work, and then they didn't even put it in the show. So, but yeah, it's crazy. But I actually aspire to be a wrestler. Like, I want to be the first pro gamer to turn into a pro wrestler. So, like, there's wrestlers who are gamers, you know what I'm saying? But I want to be the first person that was known as a pro gamer to transition into pro wrestling. You see what I'm saying? Because I like showing people that you can do it, and there's a lot of gamers that are into wrestling that do, like, wrestling stunts, but they'll never go and, like, pursue a career in wrestling. So I want to be that guy that, like, that pursues it and shows them that they can do it.
That is so interesting. Then do you have an idea on what your facade would be? Would you wear a mask? Would you have a cape? Or would you have some funky dance that you'd come out to?
So, I'm a bad guy.
Oh, you're a villain. Oh,
I'm a straight up heel. I'm a straight up heel. Like, it's crazy. My wrestling persona is, like, my personality amplified by, like, 1,000. Except, I'm a bad guy. So I don't care about nobody's feelings. I'm in it for myself. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I have a tag team partner, Mad Titan. If you look him up, he's actually another gamer who was on my team as well. He plays for Syndicate now. I think he plays for Team Syndicate. Yeah, he plays for Syndicate. We're going to be tag team partners, and the story has always been, we're going to win the tag team belts. We're going to lose the tag team belts. I'm going to turn on him. He's going to become the baby face, like the good guy, and I'm going to be the bad guy. He's going to win the belt, and I'm going to win the belt from him. Like, that's always been the narrative. Always. We're going to run the scene. We're going to win the tag team belts. I'm going to turn on him because we lost them. And then he's going to go separately and win the belt, and I'm going to win the belt from him. Like the world heavyweight, whatever the most prestigious belt is, wherever we end up, I'm going to take the belt from him and then have my own title reign. And then we'll have, like, a feud that way, and then we'll probably end up as a tag team again. But that's like my persona. I'm a heel. I'm a bad guy. I don't care what nobody thinks. You know what I'm saying? I'm in it for myself. I yell at the crowd. I yell at other wrestlers. I disrespect the reporters and the people who take interviews. Like, I'm just a jerk on camera. But outside of that, I'm not actually a jerk.
Nah, you're nothing like that. Is this something you'd want to get done by the end of this year?
Yes. So I set a goal that either by CEO or by the end of the year, I would have graduated wrestling school and have had my first actual match, regardless if it's a win or a loss. Yeah, so we're getting, like, deep in the training, like real deep in the training. And then, like, so by June, cause I'm hoping honestly to, like, call out Kenny Omega and, like, curse him out or something like that. Like nice. I want to garner a lot of heat. Like, I want people to hate me. And I want to call them out, and then, like, maybe at next year's CEO have, like, an actual match between somebody who came from CEO and somebody who, you know, supports CEO, like a wrestler who supports CEO. But I don't want to approach him about it until I'm an actual sanctioned wrestler, so he knows I'm not going to hurt him and I'm not going to hurt myself. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm giving myself until CEO to be an actual wrestler until the end of the year to have had my first actual match. So by the time next year's CEO comes around, I could call him out and he may actually consider it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, in terms of Street Fighter, who would be your dream matchup? Like a top player that you would die to face. But I want to put it to wrestling.
Wrestling?
Yeah, so Kenny Omega would be the one you're gunning for.
I'm gunning for Kenny Omega because I feel like Kenny Omega would be the only one that's, like, willing to do it. I feel like he's the only one that's, like, open enough to be like, alright, yeah, I'll wrestle a match with this kid real quick. You know what I'm saying? Even if it was, like, 3 minutes. I feel like he's the only one, You know what I'm saying? Because I come from a scene that he loves. It's not like I'm just a random wrestler calling him out because we're both wrestlers. You see what I'm saying? It's more so like I'm a pro gamer calling out a pro wrestler. I feel like he would entertain that. He'd be the only one. But as far as like my favorite wrestler, I have two. My favorite wrestler is CM Punk, and my all-time favorite wrestler is Triple H. I always right. So like if you watch my CEO stuff, I'm always doing like the Triple H stuff, spitting the water out, and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm always the guy doing the Triple H stuff. So like I've always said that if I was able to wrestle a wrestler and lose, it would be Triple H. Like if I was able to wrestle him and not even win, like I don't care if I win, I don't care if there's a belt on the line, I don't care if I jobbed. If I was able to just wrestle Triple H, I would be extremely happy because he's my favorite wrestler of all time.
Oh man, I'd love to see that, man. That'd be so awesome.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
No, well, thanks for that, man. We will go on our first break. So those of you who are listening, or those of you who have joined in, just stay tuned. We will be back in a jiff. Yo, what's up to those who are listening and to those who have just joined in. We've got our friend Dayasha here, so I'll pick it up with the E-League show. Can you talk about the process and the selection about how you and these other individuals came together?
So, all right, I can't get too deep into it, but I can tell us my experience.
Tell us what you're allowed. Yeah, just tell us what you can.
Cool. So, January 5th is when I applied for the show. They put out a public tweet about casting for Street Fighter V players. I want to say December 15th or something like that. And casting ended January 18th, I think. Something like that. My dates are probably fuzzy. But Mad Titan, my brother, was like, "Hey, did you apply for that show?" And I was like, "What show?" He was like, "Oh, you know, the Street Fighter show." And I was like, "No, I actually didn't hear anything about it." And he was like, "Yo, you should definitely apply for it because, like, I feel like with your personality, you'll get on it." And I was like, I'll think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had just gotten promoted for my job. I got a raise. You know what I'm saying? Like, life was
you're focusing on real life stuff.
Yeah, I was like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, I want to say January 8th is when I actually applied because I just had a day off. I was chilling in bed, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get up and go ahead and apply for this show. So what you had to do is you had to send an email to the casting agency. So I sent this, like, to me it's not long because I'm just professional as hell. But to the other people that I showed, they were like, yo, that's the longest email I've ever seen. And in the email I had, like, photos of different things that I've been doing and, like, different eras of when I've been doing it. So 30 minutes later, like no lie, 30 minutes later, they hit me up like, "Yo, we want to talk to you."
Oh shit!
So I was like, "All right, cool, yeah." Like it was literally 30 minutes later. So there were people that were sitting and waiting since since like December 15th to hear something, and I heard something in 30 minutes, right? So I was like, "All right, well maybe my email was just really good." You know what I'm saying? Like I never was like, "Oh, I'm in it. I got the show." So then they were like, "Yeah, let's do the Skype interview real quick. We want to do a Skype audition." And I was like, "All right, cool. We'll do a Skype audition." So I do the Skype audition, and then the lady stops recording me at the end, and she's like, "Yo, I love you. Like, I love you so much. I want you to be a part of the show."
Yeah, I love you too, Dayasha. You're a good dude.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, so she's like, I really want you to be a part of the show, but it's not up to me. It's up to the other producers. So I was like, all right, cool. Now, mind you, this isn't a day. Like this audition was in a day. Then she texted me and she's like, "Hey, I need to ask you one more question." And I was like, "All right, shoot." She's like, "Hey, get back on Skype." So I got back on Skype and she asked me another question. And then she was like, "Listen, the producers already love you." You know what I'm saying? Because I guess what they had to do was just put together like a package, like a video package of like, because they asked me for like pictures and stuff like that. So I guess they had to put it all together.
Yeah.
Like kind of like selling me or whatever. She was like, "Yo, they already love you and I'm not even done yet." And I was like, "All right, well," still being like, we'll see what happens. You know what I'm saying? I'm still not like, I got the show. Then I get a call like the next day, and this is all like in a span of like days. Like every event that I'm telling you happened like the next day. The next day, one of the other producers, who's like the lead producer on the show, was like, "Yo, I really want to call you and ask you some questions." So I was like, "All right, cool." So he calls me and he gets more information from me, and he's like, all right, I'm gonna have somebody else call you. So I was like, all right, cool. So I get another call from somebody else, and they're like, "Oh my god, I love you. I'm gonna have somebody else call you." Right? So I'm talking to all these different people, and I'm still just like, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So they send me like all these like non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that, and you know, obviously I won't talk about what's on those. And then they sent me like a background check and all that other stuff, which I'm not a murderer or anything like that, so it's fine.
it's just the credentials, all the nitty gritty.
Yeah, you definitely just get, you know, they got to check that I'm not one of those people. So then they send me the background check, and then I get called again from another producer. Now, mind you, I'm in contact with like 4 different producers at this point. I get called from another producer, and he's like, "Hey, I just want to talk to you. Like, I just want to learn more about you. Like, there's a lot about you that's being said and tossed around. Like, I just want to know who about you
are.
Right?
Help
like,
me help you.
Right? Who's Dayasha? Like, tell me about Dayasha." So I'm like, "All right, cool. How much time do you have? Because I could talk all day." He's like, "All right, just go ahead and lay it on me." So in so many words. So I tell him exactly who I am, how long I've been in the scene, who I've helped out, how I've been placing in tournaments and stuff like that. And the funny thing about them is like they were more interested about my life than the gaming. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't care how well I placed in tournaments. They cared more about my story. You know what I'm saying? And
about your individuality.
Right. You can kind of get that because they didn't ask me much about like like. I mean, they did ask me about like how well I placed and stuff like that, but it was more like, "Oh, you want to be a wrestler? Well, tell me about that." You know what I'm saying? "Oh, you have 3 kids? Tell me more about each individual kid." "Oh, you were in the military? Cool. Tell me about that." You know what I'm saying? Like it was more like that instead of when, "Oh, you play Street Fighter? What's the highest you placed?" "Oh, yeah, cool. Let's continue." You see what I'm saying? Like it was a different type of feeling. So then he's like, "Yo, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Pending this background check, like, you're a candidate on the show." You know what I'm saying? And then I was like, "Well, I'm not a murderer. I don't commit any crimes, so I'm sure that means that my background check is going to pass." I mean, I got speeding tickets. Like, if y'all disqualifying people for speeding tickets, then all right. You know what I'm saying? But he was like, "Yeah, so, we want you." I was like, "All right, cool." So then my background check comes back, and now, at this point, I want to say it's like, the end of January. So I can't give you like filming dates and stuff like that.
No, of course not. No.
It's at the end of January at this point. So then they're like, "Yo," I get a call from another producer, and she's telling me about like what I need to bring, asking me about food allergies and like getting my driver's license and stuff. And I'm like, still not, I'm not a part of the show, but we'll see what happens, right? Like I didn't want to get my hopes up. So I work for Apple, and I told my manager, I was like, "Hey, I may or may not be on a TV show. It's like extremely confidential. You can't tell anybody. Like, what do I need to do? And they were like, hey, just put the time in. If you're on the show, great. If you're not on the show, we'll cancel it, and you could just go right back to work. And I was like, dope. So there's no risk. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was never any risk. I had vacation time, so I was paid. Like, you know what I'm saying? So there wasn't really that much risk. And then the time comes for me to fly. Now I have my travel itinerary and everything like that. And they were real hush about like who is on the show.
Oh, who the other people are? Yes.
Right. Yeah. They wouldn't tell me who was on the show, but I knew right off the bat 2 of them. And the reason why I knew 2 of them is because you cannot have a TV show without these 2 individuals. And I feel like if you know anything about TV, if you've ever watched TV, if you know anything about people with personality and stuff like that, then you would know these 2 people would be on the show.
You had the inkling. You knew.
Right, I knew 100%, and I've said this to the producers, and they were like, well, we can't tell you, right? So, yeah, so I was like, I know that Sherry is on the show, just because she's arguably one of the best females to play Street Fighter, right? And then the other person is Low Tier God. I knew Low Tier God was on the show. There's no way in hell you have a reality TV show about Street Fighter players and you don't have Low Tier God.
You need the personality. Yeah, I agree with you. So like for people like you and Low Tier God, like they would have had to have brought people that made people like, oh, like he's on the show, like what?
Exactly, like have the views and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I get to the hotel and I'm just hanging out in the hotel. You know what I'm saying? And they were like, hey, if you see any other gamers, don't talk about the show because they may not be on the show, but we're all adults and nobody's stupid. So if, like, I'm in Florida, you know what I'm saying? I'm from Florida, or I live in Florida. Sherry lives in Cali. Low Tier God lives in Cali. Jesse lives in Cali. Rob TV lives in Ohio. JB lives in Cali.
Man, they're all Cali people.
Right, that's crazy. And Gllty was in Japan, like lives in Japan. So if I saw anybody in Georgia, I knew what's up. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's dumb. So I get to the hotel and I'm hanging out, and then the next day I go to the, I'm very punctual, come downstairs waiting for the van, and then that's when I start to see like all the other people that's on the show, and I'm like, see, I already knew it, you know what I'm saying? I can't really get into like the process after that because then I understand. Filming. But yeah, so that's essentially how the whole situation started. Oh, you know what? I still, even though, so they showed up to my house to film my background, right? And this was the first time, like, I've done YouTube and I've been in front of cameras and stuff like that, but this is the first time I've been in front of like a camera crew, like with boom mics and all, like, it's crazy. These big ass like 4K cameras that weigh like 80 pounds, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They come to my house to film my background, and that's when I did the wrestling thing.
Oh, nice.
Then they came to my place, and then they interviewed me, and then they interviewed my kids, their mom. We went over to their place. Like, they did that whole thing, and that process was like from 9:30 in the morning to like 8 p.m. Like, and they filmed me cooking. You know what I'm saying? Like, they filmed so much that they didn't put in the show that I was like, you should have made it more than 5 episodes because you just recorded a bunch of stuff that just people will never see.
Yeah, that is one thing I did want to talk to you about is if the show was an honest representation of you, because in your interview with Flo, you said yourself that a lot of things were filmed, a lot of things happened, but they cut it out. And so, like the cooking, for instance, because Flo thought that Sherry did more cooking than you, but it turns out you did.
I did all the cooking. Like, all the cooking, 100%. Hold on one second. Yeah, I did all the cooking 100%. And honestly, I'm happy the way they portrayed me. Because they didn't make it seem like I was terrible at the game. You know what I'm saying? Because I lost to Gllty 5-0. Like, that, it was bad. But you couldn't tell that the match was as bad as it was because of how they showed everything else. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I feel like, right, yeah.
Your call out to Gllty when she chose you, I felt like that was the moment where hopefully if those who had a heart was just behind you 100%. Even Rob's comment was just like, please, Dayasha, please, like, I'll be flipping backwards if you can do this.
Yeah, so the thing with that is they chose me to be like the figure of America, you know what I'm saying? Like I have kids, you know what I'm saying? So I'm showing everybody who can relate. Like, for example, like most of the people that I'm getting on Twitter and Facebook, they're all like fathers, you know what I'm saying, or mothers who play video games, you know what I'm saying. I was like the beacon of hope. Like, I have a full-time career, I have 3 kids, you know what I'm saying. Like, I have stuff that I need to manage, yet I still made it to TV. You see what I'm saying? And I guess I had that, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm like bragging or boasting, but I had that like likable personality about me, and then I had that story to tell, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't like the shit that Gllty and Rob TV were doing behind closed doors and stuff like that. The stuff that they left out isn't really like, it doesn't make me look better or look bad. It's just like I would have rather them show it, because there's a lot of stuff that people can relate to, you know what I'm saying? Like, they did an interview with, was it JB? Yeah, it was JB, and JB was like, yo, I'm glad we had Dayasha here, like, not for nothing, because if he wasn't here, we all would have starved. You know what I'm saying? Because we weren't ordering out. We couldn't have people deliver food, so somebody had to cook, and it was me. That's not to say that Gllty or Sherry or anybody else can't cook. It's just I was the one that was doing all the cooking, you know, so... I think Gllty cooked, too.
Yeah, I think she did. Yeah. Well, was there one key thing that was filmed that wasn't shown that you would have wanted to have been shown, and not just related to you, but just any kind of event in the house throughout the episodes? Oh
man, there's so much that went on. Like, one thing that I don't want to say it's like a disappointment.
I don't want to put you in hot water if it's something you can't tell, but
No. Don't worry, it's nothing like that. But like, I don't want to say I'm disappointed or sad. It's more so like, I'm kind of bummed out. There's so much that happened with Low Tier God that they'll never see. You know what I'm saying? Like, Low Tier God is funny as hell, yo. Like, funny as hell. Like, there was a situation, I think I told this story on Flow Stream. We were all in a bus, and this was right after, either Sherry got eliminated or I think it was right after Sherry got eliminated. And one of the producers was like, yo, so Low Tier God, like, how do you think it would have worked out if you had to play Gllty? You know, because at the beginning, they were like, oh, are you the Low Tier God? Like, they had that moment at the beginning. So he went on this long 5-minute monologue. Like, this dude had a speech prepared to answer her question, like, I would do this and blah, 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 blah. Like, just saying all kinds of shit, right? And we're all watching him really intently because it's entertaining. So we're watching him like, oh snap, he's spitting bars. And then at the end, he's like, so at the end of the day, it just comes down to you getting fucked, right? And then there's this long fluorescent light above his head, and Gllty looks at him with like a sharp stare, and this fluorescent light just falls and busts him right in the top of his head. And we were all dying, like, yo, she tried to kill you! Like, you shouldn't have said nothing, because now stuff is, like, falling and hitting you in the face. He was like, yo, I'm not talking shit for the rest of the time I'm on the show. Like, I'm not saying nothing else. But, yeah, there's so much that happened that I'm like, damn, you should have showed that. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the conversations that we had, or, like, we had, like, a fooseball tournament, and Sherry would have you believe that she's the best in the house, but I don't believe that. We had foosball tournaments. It was like 2-on-2, so it'd be like me and Jesse, like Rob and LTG, and like different cameramen, and the crew that was in the house. And we were beating Low Tier God and Rob TV. So we had already won. Myself and Commander Jesse, we had already beat Rob and LTG. So in the second game, they were making a comeback, or they were about to win, or something like that. And Low Tier God went to snap the ball, and he broke the men, like one of the guys that was on the pole. He broke that shit because he swung so hard and just broke it. And we were like, now we can never play because you broke the damn foosball machine. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much that was like left out. Like his conversations about pizza. This man, he will turn anything into a poem. Like the way this guy speaks, he will turn anything into a poem. So it's like there's so much Low Tier God moments that they didn't put in there. I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's situations with me and Rob. It's not like drama and nothing like that. Like, there's funny situations with, like, myself and Rob, or, like, Jesse and JB, or, like, Sherry and Gllty. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a lot more conversation that they left out. But I feel like the majority of the stuff that was, like, funny, that should have made it to TV had to do with, like, Low Tier God.
Yeah. Well, with the show kind of being, like, reality show, and it being, like, esports and stuff, I know you're not competitive as much within the scene, but what are your thoughts about this show in terms of promoting esports? Because a lot of people were a bit. I don't want to say contradicting, but I think there were some people when the cast was announced were a bit doubtful on who the players were. Like, they wanted to see, people like Punk and Smug and Knuckle-Doo and all those guys in the house. But then at the same time, I agree with you. You need personality. You need that charisma to carry something like a reality show. And a lot of players, they don't show charisma like they did in the face when they play. Are you going to trust them to bring in the numbers?
Right. I feel like the numbers would be there, but the show would be trash. If you had like Justin and Punk, and that's not to say like Justin and Punk don't have personality, but at the same token, if you want to see like the best people play Street Fighter, then you can watch ELEAGUE, you can watch all the other tournaments that you will see them at, like 100% see these people at. The point of the show, and it's like the first like 3 sentences of like the promo, it's 7 amateur gamers live in a house. Yeah. It's meant to show people, maybe not to say anybody drowns in pool, because I've never drowned in pools, but like, people who may not win, may not get first place, are competing to show the world that they're actually good, because there's a lot of factors that go into losing at a tournament. Like, there's a lot that can happen because you lost at a tournament, or to cause you to lose at a tournament. So the point was to show like 7 amateur people making their way to the ELEAGUE Invitational to play for $250,000. Now you get the people like people saying, yo, we wanted Justin, we wanted Punk, we wanted Knuckle-Doo. You will 100% see them at the Invitational. You will 100% see them at the Invitational. But the TV show had nothing to do with the Invitational. It had to do with like the real life aspect of people who want to be professional gamers who maybe can't be professional gamers, or have like jobs or lives, outside of playing Street Fighter. You see what I'm saying? But they also have personality. You know what I mean? Like, I got a message from another father that was like, yo, you portray the father role better than any other father in the scene. You know what I'm saying? Like, you were the perfect person to be the father figure for the show. You see what I'm saying? Like, I received that as a Twitter DM, and you know what I'm saying? I feel like the producers saw that too. They want you. They don't want 7 people who just like are good at the game playing each other. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine
in real life? Like they just don't have anything. Yeah.
Right. They don't care for challenges. They don't care for going out and having fun. They don't care about none of that shit. Whereas like, myself, I want to entertain people. I want you to laugh. I want you to cry. Like, I want people to feel a certain type of way when I'm in the house. So I feel like I was the perfect pick to be there. You know what I'm saying? And then you had people like Gllty, who's a natural villain. You know what I'm saying? And everybody was like, oh my god, LTG, LTG, LTG. And I'm like, if you watch the show, you'll see that LTG is actually not the villain. He's like the furthest thing from the villain. You know what I mean? So there was always that story to be told within the house, where you wouldn't get that if you had, like, if you chose 7 people, if you chose like Punk, Justin, Do, freaking Smug. Smug has a lot of personality though. Who else could we say? And then like if you pick somebody from like Japan, like Daigo, something like that, I feel like it wouldn't be as entertaining. Right? It's not as, because they're not showing any life outside of in the game. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to watch them play the game, then you can watch any tournament. You know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't the part of the show, or the point of the show, I should say. So yeah.
How was it like for your children? Your 3 sons, is it?
3 sons, yep.
David, Damon,
Jace, and Damon.
Yeah. How? I mean, because I love that you're a father, and I love that you're trying to encourage your kids to do what you love, and you can succeed. How was it for them to see their father on the computer screen or the TV, or were they giving you support from home?
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%. Like, they were supporting me 100%. They missed me when I was gone, but when I was back, they wanted to see more stuff, but it took a while for them to edit it and all that other stuff. So when I was finally on TV, like, they were excited, and they were also excited that they were able to see themselves on TV, and that was one of the things that I was telling them, like, with like the producers and stuff like that. Like, I'm not doing this without my family. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not doing it without them.
Yeah.
Like, my oldest son, in episode 3, you see how I'm like, oh, he has alopecia. What alopecia is that he loses all the hair on his body. Like, all of it. Like, he'll walk around bald, no eyebrows. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's an autoimmune deficiency.
Yeah.
So, my thing was I want to show him that you can have confidence in doing whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you're about. You can do whatever you want to do. You see what I'm saying? And I wanted that narrative. I wanted that narrative to be set first and foremost. Like, you know, I care about my family. My family cares about me. And I'm not doing this without my family because I do it for my family. If that makes sense. That was always my thing going into it. Who do you do this for? What do you plan to do? I plan, like, I do this for my kids. Like, I want them to see their dad on TV playing video games, so they know that I wasn't sitting here playing video games for hours on end, going to all these tournaments for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I made something of it.
Yeah, you were playing for something real, and I think that moment when you were calling out Gllty, when you were laying that fire, yeah, man, me, and I'm sure a lot of people were definitely behind you, man. Just before we go on break, I want to talk about the whole the whole Lupe Fiasco thing, how you popped off at him. I really enjoyed that. But did he try to challenge you? I heard that he tried to challenge you, you know, because you said in Flo's interview, he tried to challenge you again when the cameras were off.
Yeah. So we were all upstairs in my room, and we were just talking about like the challenge and stuff like that. And I can hear him calling me from downstairs, like, Dayasha, come downstairs, bro. And you know, in typical, because we were talking a lot of shit to each other. There's a lot that they don't show, and I feel like they didn't show it because it would take me out of character. But I was laying fire on Lupe Fiasco, and I opened the door and I was like, I ain't coming down nowhere here if you want to play some games with you. So he comes upstairs, and the producers was like, nah, we gotta go. And he's like, nah, I really want to play like first to 3. We'll just make it quick, like first to 3. And I was like, yeah, it'll be quick. Like, don't worry about it. So they let us go downstairs and we played, and I beat him again, 3-0. No rounds, none of that. But the thing about Lupe is very, you could tell he's willing to learn. You know what I'm saying? Because he was more so trying to learn the matchup, the Ken Chun matchup. Because like you said earlier, not a lot of people play Chun.
Yeah.
So he just wanted to learn the match. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna beat Dayasha's ass. Because once the cameras was off, that was it. You know what I'm saying? So, he just wanted to learn the match. So he was asking me questions about the match and stuff, like, very different than what you saw on camera. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we were talking shit to each other. But when he challenged me and we went downstairs, you know, like the cameramen were watching. They were probably filming it. I think he recorded it on his phone. Like, he took a picture and all that stuff. So I think he just wanted to learn the match. And I'm sure he's like extremely busy. You know what I'm saying? So I don't imagine he has enough time to play Street Fighter. So of course I was gonna beat him. You know what I mean? But it was a very different conversation when we were downstairs playing each other. But yeah, I bodied him 3-0, no rounds again.
In your honest opinion, do you think Daigo threw the match against him?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like,
I mean, you know, all good for him getting that win, but it's like, yeah.
Yeah, like, anybody who's an adult knows that Daigo threw that match. And my thing with Daigo is like, I respect Daigo for wanting to push the culture forward by losing to a celebrity. You see what I'm saying? Because we know Daigo can body Lupe Fiasco. Like, we know that. Everybody knows that. And if you don't know that, you don't know Daigo very well. You know what I'm saying? So, we know that Daigo can beat Lupe Fiasco, like, no problem. He's beaten the best on the planet. You know what I'm saying? So, of course he lost that match, but I feel like he lost it, or he threw it. I feel like he threw it to progress the scene further. And I feel like there's a lot of things that happen within the scene that just, you know, pushes the scene a little bit forward, a little bit at a time. And that was pushing the scene forward. Because if he just bodied Lupe Fiasco, what if that made him not want to come back and support the scene? What if that made him not want to take photos? You know what I'm saying? And then another thing with Lupe Fiasco being in the scene, the media coverage that had, you know what I'm saying, was substantial for the fighting game scene.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
People will be wondering, why is this a headline in the news? Like,
right,
Lupe
exactly.
Who? Yeah.
Exactly. So that brings more eyes to our scene, and the fact that he beat arguably the best Street Fighter player on the planet You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't free or anything like that, but the fact that he beat him, people who don't know Daigo and people who don't know what we do will be like, oh, snap, Lupe Fiasco is actually really good at this game. And then they may want to go buy the game, or they may want to tune it, they may want to show up to a tournament. You see what I'm saying? That just brings more eyes to the scene. So I don't fault Daigo for losing, and I don't fault Lupe for taking the win, but he definitely threw that match. And I feel like if anybody thinks otherwise, they just don't know Daigo. Or don't know Lupe's skill level.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll just take our second break now. So, get a glass of water or juice or whatever you fancy. Hit the toilet if you need to go bust a cap. We will be right back.
Hi everyone, this is Justin Wong, and you're watching the Salt Shaker Podcast.
Yo, how's it going? Thanks for those who are here, those who have just joined, or, we're finally here near the end with Dayasha. So, I should have finished it in the last segment, but in terms of the E-League show, who was the one person after that whole experience that you kind of had that, wow, like, I'm really glad to have met them, or it was such an experience getting to know them?
I would say, so I enjoyed meeting everybody, right? Like everybody there. I got to learn a lot about Lord God. I got to learn a lot about Rob TV, you know what I'm saying? Which Rob TV and I clicked like immediately. Like the minute I met him, we clicked immediately.
The energy you two have on that show is good, man. I love that you bring it up.
It's just like that. Like in real life, it's just like that, where we're just like yelling at each other and it's just fun and funny. But I would say the person that I was very happy to have met is Gllty. And it's not, I don't want anybody to think like, oh, it's because you lost to her. It's not like that at all. The thing is she was the most hated person going in there. Like, yeah, man. Most hated as far as like, not the outside people, but like inside out. It was like she was the most disliked person in there. You know what I'm saying? And I was able to actually learn more about Gllty because of it. You know what I'm saying? Like she told me a lot about her life. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to get into it because it's her life, but yeah, she got a lot deep into her life with me. Like we just had a long conversation about my life, her life, how they connect. You know what I'm saying? Like if you notice, the energy that I had with her was not, yo, you suck, I'm gonna beat your ass. You know what I'm saying? It was more that respect that she's a formidable opponent. You know what I'm saying? And that she could actually take me out. And I had a lot of respect for her. And I wasn't afraid of her. I just knew that this was gonna be a hard ass match. You know what I'm saying? So, I actually was able to learn a lot about Gllty and the way she carries herself. So I would say I'm most glad to have met Gllty, just because I learned a lot from Gllty. She's a spectacular person.
What I really loved about the show is it was well crafted, and the fact that each of you played. I could see, as we were talking the whole time. Like, we were talking about the roles that you all played, and I love that they shaped it, and they shaped it to the right people. You were everyone liked you. You were the good guy. Gllty, was kind of more the villain, quite shady, kind of quiet and held back. Rob was kind of Mr. The not the clown, but just lighthearted. Like, it was, you all kind of played your part. Whereas, as we said previously, if it was just a room of 6-7 players, elite players, but personally they just weren't captivating to watch. It just the show would have had structure, but there was nothing to really lift it off the ground.
Yeah. Yep, I agree 100%. And I appreciate you watching.
No, it's good, man. I mean, hey, it's good, man. I love Street Fighter. I don't play it, but I always like learning, bit by bit, about other fighting games. And yeah, it's cool. Like, just learning a bit more about Street Fighter and really like seeing what happens in certain situations. Like, I can finally see now, like, what happens in certain matchups.
Oh yeah.
So, I'll just give you a miscellaneous question. Do you have a... Now, this depends solely on you if you're willing to go into it. Do you have an embarrassing story about a player? Like, have you ever been in an awkward situation with a player at all?
Oof. I have a lot of those stories. Oh my god.
I'll give you an example. Justin was talking about, because we interviewed Justin once, and he was talking about how he was fishing for chicken nuggets with Daigo late one night at a McDonald's or something, and then the police ended up, showing up and like, oh, what are you guys doing here and stuff.
Oh snap.
Have you ever been caught with your pants down, metaphorically?
Okay, so I can't remember which tournament this was, right? And this is one of the reasons I stopped drinking. Okay, so
drinker.
Yeah, it's a bad. So it's really bad when I'm drunk. So this is why, one of the reasons why I stopped drinking. And this was like maybe 8-9 years ago, right? So we're at a hotel and I'm with K-Brad, and K-Brad and Mad Titan are more like, when I'm drunk, they don't get drunk because they babysit me. So, and the thing about Brad is Brad loves it. K-Brad loves it when like everybody is drunk around him. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's having a good time. You know what I'm saying? And he thinks it's funny. So, not to say that he doesn't get drunk, but usually when I'm drunk, he's super sober because he wants to make sure that I don't hurt myself. So in that one particular tournament, there's this, I don't know if you've ever traveled to like the US tournaments, but there's this drink called X Factor. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's in it. I just know it comes in a bucket. And it's delicious. Like, that's all I know.
In a bucket?
Is that, yeah, it's in a bucket, and you take a cup, you pay how much you pay how much it costs or whatever, but, I don't gotta pay for that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you take your cup, and you scoop it from the bucket. Right? Oh my god. I had, like, 1.5 cups of this, whatever it was.
And then you're tripping.
I was bugging out, my guy. Like, so, alright, so, the elevators have the up-down symbol, like it's like a light that's like up and then down. There was one in that specific hotel in Philadelphia that protruded from the wall. So I'm drunk as hell, bro, like, bugging out. I'm saying crazy stuff, like, I'm a happy drunk, I'm not an angry drunk, I can't control myself. So, I go to this light, and I get on it, like, I grab it, and I start doing pull-ups from it. And I rip it off the wall. So I rip this thing off the wall, and now there's this big ass hole in the wall near the elevators, and we just run off. So like Brad and Gavin are like, or Mad Titan, they're like freaking out, like, what the hell is he doing? Like, what is this guy doing? So then they finally calm me down, right? Because I'm bugging out. They finally bring me to the hotel room, and they lay me in bed, and they're both like, all right, it's finally over, right? I pop right back out of bed, I bolt out the room and I start running around the hotel, like just running around, screaming and acting ridiculous. There was like this mid-level gate that I guess I didn't see, and I ran at it full speed, and I clipped the gate and did like a triple front flip and landed on my face.
Oh,
I hurt my legs, like my face was all jacked up. They came and they picked me up, and then they threw me back into bed, and then I finally went to sleep, I guess because I hurt myself.
Okay, but, good to hear you were asleep and alive. Like, oh my god, dude. You didn't lose any teeth, did you?
Oh, nah. I was hurt, but nah.
Better than bruised, but you know, I live to fight another day.
Yeah, definitely. And after that, like, that wasn't what ended it, but that's what started the path of me, like, no longer drinking.
Hey, no, that's good, man. Oh, wow, the crazy. Well, we all have our late night benders, you know, but yeah, that sounds pretty insane.
Yep.
I've already asked this question, but I'll ask it again. Like, what's something that you want to accomplish this year? You've already said the wrestling. Do you have any other hobbies or interests that you want to pursue? Like, are you into music at all? Are you, I don't know, is there something that you want to accomplish as well this year?
So, there's a few things that I want to get back into. I want to create a schedule for streaming, because I'm very schedule oriented. I don't like when there's like chaos in a schedule, because then there's certain things that I just won't do. So I want to create a schedule for streaming. I'm putting together a EDM album. It's not that good.
Hey, come on, man. Let the people tell you.
Yeah, I guess. I want to get back into making content for YouTube, and this is the year I want to stop competing in Street Fighter. Like, I don't want to compete anymore. I feel like I don't have the brain for it anymore. Like, I don't have that competitive mind or that competitive drive. I more so want to be a host, not so much a commentator, because I feel like my commentary is not that good, but more so like a host. So like, if you're watching like Overwatch or League of Legends and stuff like that, I want to be the guy that's like interviewing people. I want to be at E3 hosting events, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of where I want to go. I want to be like a public figure rather than a competitor. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want me at your event because you want me there, not because you think I'm going to win it. You see what I'm saying?
You did say that on in your interview with Flo, you know, like competitive, you're done. And I mean, it is upsetting to hear, but then at the same time, you know, you want to make that transition because you want to seek new opportunities. Yeah,
I just don't have the brain or the motivation to do it anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people out there that will play this game for 8-12 hours a day that deserve, you know, to win these tournaments and stuff like that.
I believe they call them virgins. They're under, 18 or 17. They have so much time. They can see every opportunity that comes their way if they can achieve it. But, you face real-time issues, man. You're a dad,
Yeah.
Family man, work. It's just like, it's so hard to juggle it. But I love the fact that you kind of know what you have to do to kind of progress further, as a person.
Yeah. Like, I would just rather be the guy that you guys to say what's up to and hang out with because you saw me, like, doing a stunt or, like, wrestling, or I hosted a phenomenal event and everybody got hyped. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would prefer that than to put not my livelihood, but, like, my finances on the line trying to win a tournament, knowing damn well I can barely put, like, 3 hours into this game. You know what I'm saying? So, and there's people who deserve it more than I do as far as, like, winning and stuff like that. So I'll leave it to the newer generation to continue this.
So you've said hosting, commentating. What about coaching? Would you want to try the whole team/coach dynamic again?
I could definitely see myself doing that. But I would have to have the financial backing because esports is real and esports is like a thing. So it's like I can't create a team without being able to offer them something. You see what I'm saying? Like, what could I offer a Justin Wong to join my team? You know what I'm saying? What could I offer somebody like that to join my team so that, we have that notoriety and I have that, like, actual, cause like Echo Fox is a strong ass team. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you
think they're damn near invincible? Like, it's just, the people they've got are crazy.
How do you compete with that? You see what I'm saying? So, it's one of those things where I would have to have the financial backing to do it. If I were, let's say I was paid to coach on a team, I'd be down for that. You know what I'm saying? Because I can go to the tournaments, I can manage the teams, I can do all that stuff. But as far as me creating a team, I don't think I'd be able to do that.
Okay. No, that's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, being a fighting game player, or being a fighting game dad in general, yeah, I guess you don't really, I guess you kind of see, you know, like, as you were saying, the young players, you know, they're seeking all the opportunities, they're living in the moment, they're taking what they can, but, you know, we've been playing, you know, players like you, me, you know, Justin Wong, we've been playing for the long haul, man. We need to think like, you know, like, what's going to happen 5 years from now. Yeah, I really hope you get into the hosting and the commentary, because you definitely have the charisma.
I appreciate that, man. Like, I've been doing this for 11 years. Like, I can't compete anymore.
That's all good, man. Well, then, just one last question. It's our staple question. Who is your fighting game waifu?
Fighting game waifu?
Yeah, I think I kind of already know, but
like a actual person?
Oh no, like so if I play Tekken, and if someone asks me who my fighting game waifu is, I would probably say Nina Williams or Julia Chang. Like, just, you know, like someone in a fighting game who you think is bae. But because of your character selection, I think I know who it is. But just in case,
you can probably guess.
Yeah, it is.
I give you one chance to figure it out.
You're cooking.
Yep.
Well, you said it,
Chun.
Once a Chun main, always a Chun main. What is it? The thighs? Is it the thighs? Yeah. Damn. Oh wow.
I feel like it's the whole character. It's the whole Interpol story. You know what I'm saying? And then it would be the fact that she's Asian.
Yeah.
And, you know, her costume is sexy, but it's not too revealing, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
And she can fight, so that's all I need.
Alright then, alright. I guess we'll leave it at that then. Well, thank you, Dayasha, and thank you to everyone who's listened, who stayed the whole way through. Yeah, so if you want to follow Dayasha, you know, there's an image there, and you can kind of see all the ats and stuff. But yeah, thank you again for your time, Dayasha. Do you have any last words? Anything, any advice, or any kind of last minute, anything else?
I appreciate being on the show. And I feel like the only advice I would have is to follow what you actually want to do. Whether it be streaming, whether it be YouTube, if you're trying to be on TV, wrestling, whatever go out and do it, because you never know what'll come from it. So don't quit. Even if you go 0-2 at a tournament, keep going. Just keep trying. There'll be a time where you'll win one, and the next thing you know, you're in a major. The next thing you know, your phone's blowing up because people want to pay you to play that video game. Just don't stop grinding. Let the grind continue. It's not over just because you went 0-2.
Hey, FGC Dad says don't quit because you got 0-2. Thanks again. Thanks again, man.
No problem. Thank you, bro.
Cheers. Well, yep. Take care, everyone. Later.
Hey guys, it's Dave from Standing Fierce.
Hey yo, this is Ghost Chips.
Hey, this is Sky.
Hey, this is Iron Soul.
Kia ora, this is Wazza.
This is Simp, and you're listening to
the Salt Shaker Podcast.
You're listening to the Salt Shaker Podcast.